Hey everyone, this is Chris at Realridesharestories. How y'all doing today? So today's video is kind of what made news yesterday, and that is how New York City has passed a minimum wage requirement for rideshare drivers within the 5 boroughs of New York City. It's very important because it's actually the first of its kind throughout the world. There are no pay or hourly pay. I'm sorry. There is no hourly pay when it comes to rideshare. It goes as a ride is given, pay is given. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, what its effects are, what it means, and what to expect. So let's start off by going over a few different things. So first, the minimum wage in New York City is going to $27.86, or it's going to be $17.22, which is after expenses. And this is within New York City only. Like I said, it is the first of its kind within the entire world to have these hourly rates. So it's saying that drivers will get approximately $10,000 more a year, according to the New York State Taxi and Limousine. I'm sorry, the New York City Taxi and Limousine Commission, which is also known as the TLC. It's going to affect drivers of rideshare that are high volume, and yes, it uses quotes of high volume. What does that mean? I'm assuming people who drive often or who probably have a certain amount of hours per week, but I am not sure exactly what that means when they say high volume. And again, it's in quotes. If you look at any of the news articles, they're all in quotes. So what is this going to mean? Well, first off, let's start by discussing how the pay structure is currently for rideshare drivers. It is a drive as you get paid. So as you give a ride, you get paid, which means if I take no rides, I'm not getting any money. If I take 100 rides, I'm getting paid on 100 rides. And how that's calculated can vary depending on a few different things. But in general, how it works is you take a ride from the pickup point to the drop-off point, and you get paid for time and distance on that. And it's a rate that is ever-changing throughout all of the areas. You don't really know what it is. And this is kind of the big reason on why there's so many issues with drivers and pay. It's because you don't necessarily know what that pay is going to be until the ride's actually being done and completed. Just because things change too often and you don't really know what it is. And this is kind of what the transparency I was talking about in other videos, especially in like the good and bad of rideshare on the bad side, as long as, and another one where if you wanted to become a rideshare driver. So these couple of things are definitely a few things that you really need to know about if you want to become a driver, or if you are even a driver and you don't really know what it's all about. So yeah, like I say, that's kind of how the pay works. And then you also, as a passenger, you're quoted a estimated price when you order that ride. So let's say it's $18.36 as an estimated ride from your pickup to your drop off. So what that does is it's by how long, it's estimated by how long it's going to take the distance, including all the fees and calculations that the respected company puts into that actual fare to give you that estimate. So then the pay of that is given where the driver gets paid on distance and time for that. And then if you go into the driver breakdown for that ride, you see all the different fares and fees and everything that's broken down. So that's kind of how it works currently. And then secondly, the reason why there are no minimum wage laws that are in effect according to Uber, Lyft, other rideshare companies is because it's a 1099 versus a W-2 employee. You're an independent contractor. You are not an hourly rate or salary rate employee. You get paid on the amount of you get paid on the amount of rides that you give, not on the hours you work. That's the major, major difference. So you are an independent contractor. You are your own business owner. You can deduct all of these expenses that are towards rideshare itself. So, you can use a per mileage rate, gas, things for your car. You need to talk to a tax preparer for that, but those are things that you get. As an hourly rate employee, you go to your job, you work whatever your job is, and they pay you X amount of per hour or per salary or however you have that worked out with your employer. So it's an employee-employer relationship. Here, it's a business owner to business corporation relationship. So, and I've talked about this before, where 1099 and W-2 or 1040 are much different from each other. So having this minimum wage put into place for a 1099 independent contractor person is very confusing to me, because it kind of goes against quite a few things there. So I'm not sure how that's going to work, because again, like I say, you are not an hourly paid employee here. You are an independent contractor, which means you take the amount of rides. So if you only have 5 rides that you've given, you're only getting paid on those 5 rides. And if you work for 10 hours, then you're only getting paid on those 5 rides. Now, if you get 5 rides within an hour, you're going to make a little bit more. So that's a huge thing right there. And then let's go into, drivers do make less and less. And like I say, that is kind of the reason why you have so many issues with drivers, with pay and not getting the right amount required. There's a lot of things into it that go into effect. And in the short term of things, yes, drivers do need to get paid more for what they're doing. But the thing is, it's also not guaranteed. So if you don't follow the right rules, or if you don't do what you're supposed to do, you're not going to get paid. And it kind of weeds out all of the drivers that don't understand that or don't know that. And that kind of brings up a point that I'll talk about in a few minutes of that. It's good to have the money coming into the pockets, but creating a minimum wage, to me, is almost a slippery slope. First off, I'd love to hear what you guys think, so make sure you comment below as well. If you're a driver, tell me what you think. If you're a passenger as well, tell me what you think. So let's go into really kind of what it means. So you're getting paid an hourly rate, and they're saying about $17.22 after expenses per hour. And that this is going to go into effect in mid-January. So it's about a month from now. What does it mean? We really don't know. The only thing, like I say, that we do know is that there's an hourly rate that's going to be in effect for rideshare drivers. So I have 2 articles that I'm going to read to you or highlight through, and I'm going to put a link in the description so you can actually read through them yourselves if you like. The first one is, if this will pull up, it's from Business Insider, and it's the article name is "New York City just became the first U.S. city to set a minimum wage for Uber and Lyft drivers." So it's saying that New York City is the first city to adopt a minimum wage for drivers working for the ride-hail services like Uber and Lyft. The TLC on Tuesday passed rules that it requires high-volume drivers for hire vehicles to receive a wage per trip that corresponds to $27.86 per hour, or $17.22 after expenses. It's also saying that it's the first city globally to recognize tens of thousands of drivers providing the rides. And it's saying that according to the commission, the rules will result in the equivalent of a $10,000 annual raise for approximately 96% of New York City's Uber, Lyft, Juno, and Via drivers. So they also go on to say that the median earnings for high-volume drivers have decreased over 10% between 2016 and 2017. So right there is talking about the decrease in pay that a lot of drivers are having issues with. So now, again, like I say, what does that mean? It just means that people in New York City are going to get paid possibly more, but it really kind of depends because each area is different. So in the area I work, I do it in Buffalo, in and around the area. And so it's still New York. It's New York State. It's just the other side of the state. And I probably average right around, $20 per hour for what I do, for the times that I go out. Can you do it different? Can you get more? Absolutely. I've averaged $30 to $40 an hour before, multiple times. It really depends on the time, the day that you go out, and a lot of different factors. But it really comes down to if you're going out and getting rides, you're getting paid for it. So again, how is this going to work? If you're just on, are you going to be getting an hourly rate whether rides come in or not? Are they going to boost your rides whether they're rides or not? I mean, how does that work? They're saying that it could increase costs because now you have to pay these independent contractor drivers more money, even if they're not taking rides, or however that works. I'm not sure. Honestly, I really don't know. It's all so new and different. I just don't know. So now I'm also going to refer to the USA Today's article where it says, and it's titled, Uber, Lyft rides in New York City could cost more under new minimum wage rule. And again, I'll leave the link to this article in the description below so you can read it if you'd like. And I'll just highlight a couple of things. This is where Uber and Lyft issue statements in support of a living wage, but said the new rules could affect passengers. So the TLC's implementation of the City Council's legislation to increase driver earnings will lead to higher than necessary fare increases for riders, while missing an opportunity to deal with the congestion in Manhattan's Central Business District, Uber Director of Public Affairs Jason Post said in a statement. The commissioner's formula factors in drivers' total working time and time spent transporting fares to increase efficiency and reduce the time drivers spend circling busy areas while awaiting fares. But the formula, which uses a minimum per trip formula, could actually increase congestion because it encourages drivers to take more short rides in Manhattan's Central Business District rather than long ones to other boroughs, the rideshare company says. And these rules would be a step backward for New Yorkers, and we urge the TLC to reconsider them, Lyft said in the statement. So again, there's so many weird things about this. Like I say, it starts off, you're an independent contractor, you're not an hourly rate employee. So how is that going to work? Secondly, if you make more money in that per hour, does that mean you forfeit that amount, or is minimum at that point, and then anything higher than that is what you make? So currently in this area, we have a minimum per ride fee. So if there's a ride from here down the block, that's going to be a minimum amount, which means there's a like certain radius or a certain distance in time that once it hits that point, then it starts going increase. But anything smaller than that point stays at that minimum rate. So is that how it's going to work with this minimum hourly rate? So for those people who take $30, $40, $50 per hour hours, are they going to make that, or are they going to stay at this $17.22 per hour? Also, what does it mean for passengers? If they have to calculate a higher rate to guarantee a minimum wage, how is that going to affect passengers and what they pay? Also, will it actually increase waiting times like some people are saying? We don't know. Again, this is too new to see what happens. Now, my thoughts on it is I think that a minimum rate is a good thing, but it also needs to take into account, tips and those hours that are worked above that. Now, if I've ever had an hourly rate under that 17.22, probably. I mean, just if it's a quiet night or if there's too many drivers out, it's all on supply and demand. So if you have that low minimum rate, is that a good thing? Sure. But a mandatory thing, I think, is a little absurd. And New York City, come on, let's get real. I think the real thing here is that these companies should reevaluate how they pay their drivers and pay drivers a good living wage that is on a per ride basis. So that means that if, hey, you rideshare companies take a little bit smaller of a cut, do it that way and help drivers make more money. Because that's kind of what everybody's doing it for. Yeah, you get to go out and have fun. You get to make your own schedule. You get to, that actually brings up another point right there. If you're paid this hourly rate, does that mean you can still go on and off at any time you want? Or do you have to now create a schedule that is with these rideshare companies? And that's something that I don't like. And that's something that is a possibility. Again, like I say, this is all so new, and there's no real explanation beyond the fact of saying that there's the implementation of a minimum hourly wage of $17.22 after expenses, which also equates to $27.86. And then it also brings up, what about taxes? Yeah, there's so much here. I really don't know. And as I say, if you're a driver, what's your thoughts on this? What do you think? Do you think that New York City has an idea here? Are you just as confused as I am? Do you believe that it should stay as a per ride basis? Tell me your thoughts. What do you guys think? And if you're passengers, what do you think? And what do you feel? Do you think that paying somebody a little bit better of a rate while getting an increased fare, or tipping better, or what do you think? What do you think would help all drivers be able to make a little bit better of a wage for themselves and their families? So tell me what you think. All right, this was a unexpected video, and like I said, this came out yesterday, at least where I was made aware of it. I will keep you updated on the evolution of this, and I'm sure over the next few weeks, and as this is implemented over the next couple of months, we will actually see how it goes. But currently, I don't know. My thoughts are just pay drivers a better rate and take less money than what you do now. And I think that'll help solve a little bit of the problem there. And again, like I say, what do you guys think? Comment below. And if you enjoy these videos, make sure you subscribe, ring the bell for notification. It'll keep you updated on this type of video is what we're doing, as well as all of our fun stories and different things within the channel on a normal basis. But I thought I had to make a video of this and kind of give my few cents and just basically say, who knows what's going to happen. But with that being said, you guys have a great day, and we'll see you next time.
Still watching? That's all right. This video might be over, but the fun doesn't have to be. Video up top, if you click that, that'll take you to the last video that we just did. And the video down below is what YouTube thinks you should watch. If you're not a subscriber yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button right over here. And we'll see you next time.